Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Marie, and today I'm doing a follow-up slash companion to my Remember MTV video I did in the recent past. This is Who Remembers VH1? So, my MTV memories are pretty prominent, but also stark. And the reason why I say that is because there was a time where we lived in a part of the country where MTV didn't exist. And it didn't exist because cable carriers wouldn't carry it because the parents in the market threatened to boycott them if they did. And so they weren't allowed to carry MTV, and therefore that we did not have access to MTV during this period of my life. In its place was VH1, which used to, I believe, stand for Viacom Hits 1, which was the adult companion to MTV. I think in modern times, VH1 is just a retro 80s channel, and I don't even know what MTV is. Reality TV, I guess? I don't know. I don't fucking watch MTV. I don't have cable, so I could be way off on VH1. But there was a period where I couldn't watch MTV. So the closest I could get to it was VH1. Now, VH1 is nothing like MTV on the surface. It had a lot more documentary type shows and retrospectives and behind the scenes, things like behind the music and stuff like that. And it played a lot of like biopics and movies based on famous artists and things of that nature. And so most of VH1's programming didn't interest me in the slightest. There was no Daria, there was no oddities, there was no TRL or anything to get interested in, or Yo MTV Raps or anything like that. They didn't have any equivalents of those shows. What they did have was a show called One Hit Wonders and Pop Up Video. So they did, like MTV, they would have blocks, programming blocks set aside just to show music videos. However, one, they usually wouldn't show the same music videos that was on MTV. This channel was geared more towards adults, so they usually showed either 80s videos, because this is what adults would have been watching on MTV when they were teenagers, so this is what they would have remembered, or they were showing what I would call adult contemporary music. This would be modern music videos that were geared towards adults. Artists like, I don't know, Phil Collins or Billy Joel, things like that. So this wouldn't have been Britney Spears or Snoop Dogg or anything like that. So it wouldn't have been music videos you were familiar with. They did not have rap videos on VH1 for the most part. They did have, and I do remember this very vividly, they did have some R&B videos that had MTV counterparts. However, the VH1 versions of these music videos were edited in such a way that the rap segments were cut out entirely. So there are like a couple of examples that come to mind. The first example that comes to my mind is Mariah Carey. She had a song, I believe it was Heartbreaker, where in the music video she had, I believe it was Jay-Z was prominently featured. He had a verse in the song, and he was featured in the music video. The VH1 version of the music video didn't have Jay-Z. He was just cut clean out of the video. There was no, that whole segment was just edited out. There was no rap. It was just the pop version, the R&B version of the song. And then there was No Scrubs by TLC. And again, this music video omitted the rap segment of the song, which meant the entire music video was trimmed and butchered and didn't make any sense. And it was really disorienting. I don't have fond memories of VH1. My memories of VH1 are mostly resentful, in that the whole time I was watching VH1, I was angry at the evangelical parents in the community that made it so MTV couldn't be carried on the cable carriers, leaving me stuck. Excuse me, with VH1. The other element to my resentment was the fact that they went out of their way to make sure there either was no hip hop presence on the network or a very, very limited hip hop presence on the network. And I was real big into West Coast gangster rap, but also rap in general. I was listening to Will Smith, Beastie Boys, Jay-Z, etc. You know, I was listening to all of it, but my focus was on the G-Funk and the Death Row Records and affiliates. So I was very resentful because it felt to me like VH1 was very watered down and whitewashed. It felt like it went out of its way to cater to adult, contemporary, suburban white audiences. Whereas MTV was targeting the broader youth culture, but also had room for the urban youth culture, which VH1 just flat out ignored. And so, by and large, and I know I'm oversimplifying and generalizing quite a bit here, but by and large, my personal experiences, I want to clarify, with VH1 were not great. So don't at me in the comments and say, well, actually they had this show or that show that was all about hip hop or whatever. Because either, one, I didn't know about that show, or it wasn't on at the time in my life I was watching VH1. Because at the time I was watching VH1, they went out of their way to make sure there was no hip hop on the network. And so, maybe they reversed course later on. I don't know. So don't come at me with, I watched a lot of rap videos on VH1 because they didn't have them when I was watching it. So those are my VH1 memories. Do you remember VH1? What do you remember about it?